Hi and welcome. You might know the concept of impossible spaces already if you've played games like traVRsal or T4God. You actually walk through the virtual world without using your controllers, and while you walk, the game will change the scenery without you noticing, making the experience feel extremely immersive. Today I'm going to show you how you can create your very first own impossible spaces world in just a couple of minutes. We start out on the traVRsal.com website, and there we quickly create an account. It's really easy, just enter your nickname which you select, an email address and password, and you'll need this data later on when you sign in on the headset to test out your world. Then you come to your own personal dashboard where you can create one or even multiple worlds, as many as you like. You have to select a unique key for your world, which is later on then used inside of the Unity project. You create it, and that's already it. You get your own creator key, and you will use this later on in Unity. Now we install Unity. You need a very specific version. It's the 2021.1.28. So select this version. If you don't have this version available, simply install it. And I quickly show you how to do this. You go to the install section. You go to the archive, open the Unity archive website, and there you scroll down all the way to the release 2021.1.28. Open it in the Unity Hub and let it install from there. It just takes a couple of minutes and then you're ready to go. I already have that installed, but let me quickly show you what modules you want to select once you start the installation. So you need at least the Android build support, and you do need the Windows build support in order to actually test it on your PC first before you deploy it to the Quest. The next step is to create a new project, select the right version there, and then select the URP template. So traVRsal is URP based. So this makes it really easy then to integrate your custom assets and everything into the game. You start the project creation, and while we do this, let's head over to the Wiki. It's on the GitHub page of traVRsal. You see the link up there. It's github.com/studios traVRsal SDK. And there you have a great introduction to the whole concept of impossible spaces, and you have the wiki on how to create the own custom worlds. There is quite some extensive information. There's one section I really recommend. It's reading through the concepts, and the concepts really illustrate how do all the pieces fit together, how do you create objects, dynamic objects, zones, agents, and so on. Let's first do the installation steps. I do them all here so you can follow and see this all in one big go. First, you need to install a tool called Git. This is just to resolve the package later on. There's nothing to really worry about. Just install the package, let it run, and then close and forget about it. Everything will be done automatically in the background. No need to know about the intrinsics or what Git actually does. If you have it already installed, then the better. So Unity is already installing. Next item is the tilemap editor called Tiled. It's a free utility, and we use this to actually modify and create the different zones inside traVRsal. One zone is always a room in which you can walk around, and then these different rooms are connected by, for example, a labyrinth and so on. And Tiled is just an amazingly useful editor to actually place items on a 2D grid, and traVRsal actually utilizes this very much because it facilitates the level editing process a lot. Now, when we have this installed and the Unity project is now open in the background, we can clean this out a bit because it has these example assets in there. So just feel free to remove whatever you don't need. traVRsal doesn't need any of the objects here. So we just clean this a bit. The next step we need to do, it's a one-time setup step, which the SDK cannot do, unfortunately, automatically, is we go to the player settings, scroll down, and there we change the input mode from old to use both, because some components later on in the SDK will need the new input system. It will ask you to restart the editor, and we do this. And while we wait, while we restart, we actually now download traVRsal Studio. This is the last component, and this is basically the same environment as the game, but it allows you to actually test and preview the game right on your PC while you're developing the world. It's super handy, it's extremely powerful, and everything will happen as you later on see in real time. So we open it, we need to enter the path to our new project, and it will detect automatically, yes, it's set up correctly, but the SDK is missing. We just add it from here, go back to the project, and it will now automatically download the needed components. If it asks you to make a backup, just click yes. And a new menu will appear on top. It's called traVRsal. You have 3 different main components. The setup, which is the first one, which you need to actually bring your world in there. We go to the project settings, go to traVRsal SDK, and there we find now the entry point for our creator key, which we've seen earlier. So we jump back to the web page. We copy the key with the handy copy button, go back, paste it there, and then refresh the list. And now you actually have a connection from inside Unity to the traVRsal backend. You now see your world listed here. If you have created multiple, you can select the right one. You can either have multiple worlds in one project or multiple projects and just one world in each. Depends. So if you create now this world here in the Unity editor, it will actually create a small sample world. So you already have something to start with. It's not empty, and you see the concepts already, and you can play around. You see the different folders, and now let's open the next tool. It's called the Constructor, just for you to see. You can create new zones, variables, and so on, but we'll explain this in a later video. And now the main tool, and I always dock this right into the UI because you constantly will need this tool, is the publisher. And there's the package button. This simply now packages your world into something that traVRsal Studio and the engine can understand. We just reload now in the traVRsal Studio. The world will appear. And now we have 2 options: going to the menu screen to see how the world appears to the user in the menu, or actually just jumping right in. And there it is. It will load really quickly the world and some dependencies for the first time. And then there it is, your first virtual world with impossible spaces. You see the portal coming up. You can rotate the editor, just dragging your mouse around orbit. If you hold the right mouse button, you can move the virtual avatar around and then walk with the keyboard. And now let's just walk into the portal, and there we are. We have our first zone. It's something that you can now explore, and you immediately see there's a portal actually already in there. So you can walk behind the wall, and you see there's now an impossible space where you can walk through the backside of the wall, which you actually don't see when you look from the other side. So now we're actually transitioning to the next part. And so this is how all these zones are connected. So you have these labyrinths, and when you're actually inside of the world, you don't notice this change. Your brain actually tricks you into thinking this is all a connected environment and makes you walk around in circles from the outside. But when you're in, it's really an impressive experience. When you press the F1 key, you get the highlights of where the portals are and the different spots on the tile grid. Later on, when we talk about navigation and so on, you will see the arrows appear. And once we walk to the end of the labyrinth, we will see the exit, which users have to reach as a goal in the world. So now let's change really quick and open the tile map file by just double clicking on the intro file. And there we see it's organized in layers. So you can use any layers which you want. The names will later on appear in the studio. And here for our example, let's just, for example, move or remove a wall. And now you see I just deleted one wall in the middle, and also it immediately reloaded in the studio. I undo the change and it reappears. The same applies to, for example, the portal. Let's move the portal to a different spot. So I select the portal, and now I can move it around. If I hold the control key, it will snap to the tiles very easily. So I can now just move it one up, for example. And now the portal to the next zone is actually on the first piece, which is a bit unrealistic, because then the brain will notice, oh, there's something weird because there's no border to the different portal. But like this, it works much better. You can also test from first-person perspective by pressing F12. Now you're right in the experience. You move around with your keyboard and mouse as always, and now you can really play through this environment. How the player will see it later on in the headset. Voila! This is the editor, and there you have the world on your PC. Now the next things that you can play around with is in the editor. You can toggle the visibility of the layers. Later on we'll talk about variables and how you can create logic and have things appear and make it all beautiful and change it. So this is now just the concept art to really make you familiar with how the whole process works. If we now want to test this in the headset, we have 3 different channels where we can publish this to. It's live, beta, and alpha. You can start with the live channel initially, but the recommendation is to actually switch to alpha later on, because typically I develop on the alpha channel and add new features there. And if you want to use any of the new features, it's much easier if you, of course, are on alpha, then you don't have to wait. You have even tools to automatically fix and optimize audio and graphics for you. You just saw that here with the fix button. There's a documentation created automatically with all the parts that you have in your game for later reference. And you can also reuse items from other worlds very easily with this mechanic. And now we simply upload it to traVRsal server, click the upload button. It's not a big world. You see it's 43 kilobytes. It's a quick process. And now we can actually jump into the headset. But before we do this, let me quickly come back one more time to the alpha channel, because to get access you need to quickly contact me. The best way always is to come through the Discord. On Discord, just ping me on the main server, or just write me a private message. I'm Impossible Robert, and you always find me there as the traVRsal developer. You can also go to the SDK channel and then ask all kinds of questions. We have some great community worlds already in the game, and it's a great exchange of, it's just awesome what people are doing. So once you have alpha access, you just scroll down on the Oculus page of traVRsal, you click on your version. There will be the drop down now, and then you see live and alpha. I have some more here, and then you simply switch to alpha, and in your headset the version will then change. So now I'm in the headset, I'm opening the game, and in there let's quickly jump to the settings to see the play area that we have for testing. So I don't have a lot of space here in my small office room, but let's try and go ahead. I just want to show you the process of what happens now. Before we see our own world, we need to log in. So we just enter our email again and the password. And once that's done, the game will restart one time to really initialize everything. And now when we go to the world browser, you will see all the public worlds that everybody can access. And you will also see your own little world that you created. And it will appear just right there with all the other ones. And it's called My Game right now because this is the template. Of course, you can change that. Everything which you see in the other worlds, you can do on your own. So there's no secret mechanic, and everything is possible also for your world. Let's download this real quick, the world. You see already your creator name, the size, and when it was updated. And then let's try to load it. And as you will see, there's this warning now because the play space is too small. And there's this really handy feature for testing. And this is why I wanted to show you this. So we go to locomotion, and instead of walking, we actually switch to controllers. And now inside of our headset, while we are sitting in our little development space, we can now load the game up and play with our Oculus Quest controllers. And now I'm in virtual reality, I'm wearing the headset, and now I'm stepping there and I'm opening the portal to my very own Impossible Spaces world. And I hope you're doing the same just some minutes afterwards. It's really an amazing feeling once you can actually be there. You can walk around and you start adjusting pieces here and there, and it's all coming together, and it's super cool. And then you share it with others. If you want to publish the world, then simply reach out to me on the Discord, and we can make it visible to everybody or to other friends that you have. And you already see, you get all the features out of the box, the whole tracking, the leaderboards, the ghost challenges, and so on. It's all configurable later in the world, and I will show you how this all works. So I hope you had fun, and see you all next time.